Lee, we'll start by discussing the game last night. The under-19s progressing to the next round of the UEFA Youth League. It was a fantastic occasion and a great performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, personally I loved it. I thought it was a great evening. I thought the fans turning out in their numbers was brilliant. You know, the block 7 behind the goal, like continuously singing and creating songs for lads. I enjoyed that a bit as well. But I mainly enjoyed the spirit of the performance, the organisation of the performance, the fact that the lads, when I went down pitch side, were just so happy, you know, with turning around a 1-0 deficit at home. A lot of these guys, first time they played on the pitch, first time they played in front of a crowd. It's just lovely to see it, and so many individuals perform really well. And I think it was a great advert, you know, advert for the work the academy do, advert for the work that the lads put in every day, and really an advert for how close-knit we are as a football club. Just the fact that if you turn around and I'd look in the stand, you'd have seen maybe 14, 15 players, first team players watching the game, plus every staff member, and nobody said they had to go. You know, these lads have turned up because they wanted to support the academy in a really big game.
Yeah, it was a really special night, and hopefully there'll be many more to come on the first team now. Obviously 3 games unbeaten. What's your message been to the lads this week?
Well, we've just continued our work. You know, there's been mini messaging every day. You know, today was I used the old Alex Ferguson one, which was the geese honking, because we saw some geese flying in unison in the flying V. And I stopped the boys and I said, look, like, I'm going to show you something tomorrow about that. So a bit of fun and a lot of honking going on today, and encouraging with each other, which is important, because
I bet Mark Boyle loved that.
Well, of course he did, but I think he was talking about the honking of armpits more than he was honking of encouragement. But yeah, listen, it all creates the spirit and the vibe around the place, and you know, these different themes, although sometimes they're a little bit edgy, just can create a visual in the boys' minds to focus on what you want to focus on. So yeah, all good fun, but at the same time a steely focus on a really big, important game. Last week we challenged the players, you know, to be at it, to be consistent and to drive standards, and this week has been no different. Obviously the game is a different game with a different set of attributes from the opponent. We still focus on ourselves, but obviously respecting the opponent's strengths and then trying to maximise our strengths on their weaknesses becomes the key. It starts very early in the week, you know, as of Tuesday we start working on the opposition, but sometimes the lads know it, sometimes they don't, but it's all themed to the opposition and where we think we can hurt them.
Yeah, we're obviously only 8 games in, still early days, but the table's incredibly tight, isn't it? Do you spend a little bit of time looking at that, or is it too early at this point in the season?
Yeah, I think it's too early and too tight. You know, I like the data tables. Like, I look at a lot of those because I'm always looking for improvement points. One of our focuses this week have been set plays. Because we feel like we're strong from set plays, and I think we're second in the table for goals scored and for expected goals in set plays, but we do think there's big improvements to be made there, both in delivery, timing, movement, first contact. So a big theme of the week has been our set plays, trying to be creative within those as well. And I think sometimes, like, you can neglect things like that, and most goals, I think 33% are scored from set plays or the result of set plays in the second phase. So I don't want to get too technical on everybody, but it's important, and the lads know that, and sometimes they're a bit boring to do that, so we try and find ways where we can still have fun, but there's a serious element to it.
Yeah, and obviously Motherwell this weekend, a big win for them in the week as well. What do you expect from them? It'll be a difficult challenge again.
No, I think they're a really difficult challenge. I think they're a good side. Obviously the win really highlighted that, and the conviction, particularly with their finishes and their composure. So I watched the game against Hearts where they lost 3-0, but they were excellent, and yes, a couple of weaknesses, but their expansion, their shots. I think they over 25 shots in that game against obviously a decent, strong defence. So we're under no illusions. It's a difficult game, but we're at home. Our home form's good, and we want to take every game to the opponent. And I think it'll be close, and I think it'll be end to end. And I think both teams will stick to their playing style, which I think will lead to a really good spectacle for the fans to come and see.
Yeah, and in terms of our team news, how are we looking?
Pretty good, yeah. I'd say, Bashiri's ready to come back in. Obviously, McGuinness getting some minutes last week. Nisbet trained today, full contact for the first time, although it's far too early for him. Dimitri Mitchell looking really sharp. Again, these guys are like new signings for us, and I'll have a very difficult task over the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks, selecting the right team for the right game.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want though, isn't it? I suppose as a manager, when you have so many players fit and available, like you say, Rocky Bashiri, Elias Melkerson as well, who I believe you said to the press could play this weekend as well. It's good to have all these options and a strong bench.
Absolutely. I think particularly with the 5 substitutes now, I think that is a massive factor. And also the starters know that if you're not at it, we can make the changes. And you don't want to threaten that because you want people to go in feeling secure in the performance. But I think they feel that anyway. But it also drives the standards in training. People know that there's no guaranteed starter. And winning games and performing well is the best way to stay in the team.
In terms of players missing out, will anyone be unavailable?
Jake Dorhayes, Momo Bojang, they're the 2 main ones that are out. Jake needs an operation, which you'll have next Friday. It's actually a very small operation, just to remove a fragment of bone off his ankle, so it shouldn't be too long after that. And Momo could be anywhere from like 1 week to 4 weeks with a bit of a groin strain that he picked up.
Yeah, and I just wanted to finally to speak about Kyle McGuinness. Obviously, he was back on the pitch, gaining minutes, which was fantastic for every supporter to see last weekend. How pleased are you to have him back, and how careful do you have to be in terms of managing his load?
Yes, I mean, it's always a collective in that sense. We've got a lot of expertise here, whether it be physio department, like sports science, performance, obviously the coaches that I have by my side, everybody. And including Kyle himself, by the way, has input in when we think he's right. And we do. We think he's ready. Whether he could play 90 minutes at the tempo he would want, probably not. But he could certainly play 60, 65 minutes. And obviously with 5 substitutes, there'd be no fear in starting him. So I think the key is that Kyle has a consistency in his training. It's 5-6 weeks now he's trained on the spin with no reoccurrence and touch wood, no negatives in any other part of his body. So he's a very committed player that's very wholehearted in everything he does, and his pitch personality is really strong. So we just need to allow him and his body to get to the standards that he thinks he is. And to be fair, he's pretty close. So it's great to see because obviously we're all rooting for him.
Absolutely, Lee. Good luck this weekend and thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you. Cheers.